When we understand that everything is coming our way, accepting the fullness of life, which is the title of my talk this morning, brings us to the realization that we are going to make it. The process of choosing which path we walk is accessed through our own intuition. So how do we recognize our right and perfect path? It's easy. You feel it. You know when you encounter something that isn't right for you that there's a little bit of push against it. Once we discover our soul's purpose, then we can get in alignment with our deeper calling. And rest assured, whatever condition we need for our own growth will present itself. Whether we learn through breakdown or break through, Santana just sang to you, no man stands alone. I can feel it in my bones, sister, brother, all from the same seed. And that seed, of course, is the divine source. Every cell in our physical body is unique, yet it is also part of the whole body system. Just like whatever happens to us personally also affects the consciousness of our planet. And experiencing this reconnection to Source, while we are in the denser experience of the physical body, transforms the entire structure of the lower realities. And the gateway opens for the new light to enter into our experience. The challenge and the opportunity of being here in this moment is to ask the question, can we consciously cooperate within our collective actions? It is through conscious evolution that our human potential can bring our planet to the point of shift, a place where unconditional love expands across all the dimensions. And Barbara Marx Hubbard, in her book entitled Conscious Evolution, tells us that our goal cannot be to return to the past, nor can it be to move forward to a future that is more of the same. And what I'd like to share with you this morning are her 5 elements that support our conscious evolution, and that is what her book, Conscious Evolution, is based upon. And the first element is to craft a new story of creation in the now. Our universe has history. There is something at work within it as well as within us. But it is the nature of that creative power to transform through something called the evolutionary process. Since spirit lives and moves and expresses by means of each of us, the more aware we are of ourselves as active participants, the more we can expand our role as co-creators. When we can see beyond the appearances to the truth, what we believe to be our current crisis, or even what we are possibly reliving from a past experience, can actually shift into the next stage of our evolution. And I'll never forget when Dr. Charles Geddes, who's one of my many mentors along this incredible journey of ministry, said this: you can change your past by changing the way you look at it. And this might seem scary at first, because many of us believe in and hold on to our stories. But what happens if, let's say, you get a diagnosis from a doctor, you accept it as a fact, and you begin to live your life according to what they proclaimed? What happens if the doctor was given the wrong chart by mistake? What happens if you find out that you were adopted. Heredity, the belief in heredity, goes right out the window. So the birth of a universal humanity living their own fulfillment can only become possible when we question our own reality. The time to clear out those old negative subjective beliefs is upon us. The new earth that we are creating is designed to hold no stories. There is no duality, there is no karma, nor are there any Akashic records to maintain. It is simply a realm of pure consciousness that allows the divine to create through us as joy. And as we contemplate the idea of conscious evolution, imagine a world without dis-ease, without disharmony, a place where creation can bubble up from zero reality and sink just as easily. And this is what is depicted by the Science of Mind circles on either side of me. There is a devolution, there also is an involution. So that brings me to the second element, which is to answer the question, what is conscious evolution? And Barbara Marx Hubbard defines it as the creative and ethical use of the power that is within us for ourselves, our families, our friends, and our world. So we're talking about a creative energy without boundaries of any kind. Nothing to kill or die for, no belief systems that separate us, just a sacred place where we can live together as one. And as licensed practitioners, it is our responsibility through prayer to know for our world and for you that this possibility exists, even when you are mired in the muck. You're broke, your relationship sucks, you don't have any clue what you're doing here on the planet, and you feel like hell. It's our job to support you and to know that for you until you can know it for yourself. So together we come to create a future from a greater spiritual awareness. And that moves us towards the next stage of evolution, when we begin to not only envision, but we begin to emerge the new earth. And that brings me to the third element of the plan, which is to create a new social architecture. We need something that supports this new earth, this idea that we're envisioning. A world where media and education foster conscious evolution rather than separation and sickness and violence and consumerism. Barbara Marx Hubbard says, it is an urgent call to action that begins with a unique blueprint that reconstructs our human reality. And the caterpillar is the greatest example of this, I know. It completely dissolves itself into an imaginal cell before it becomes the beautiful butterfly. And Barbara Marx Hubbard has created this mental equivalent that she calls an innovations wheel. And it is a network of individuals who are experts in their fields that are working together to heal and evolve our world. Each spoke represents people who are willing to support a creative social potential movement that shifts us towards a more powerful, peaceful future. Patents, royalties, and controls no longer exist. And you may have noticed that one of the spokes is spirituality. It's not religion. Which brings me to the fourth element. And the fourth element is a quantum leap in consciousness. And this happens when something unifies us, unifies our consciousness in some way, like the cataclysmic event of 9/11, when firefighters from all over the world came to support their brothers and sisters who were on duty, where people on the streets of New York were actually making eye contact and smiling at one another. Hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, natural disasters show us our potential as spiritual beings to love and support one another. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. Even the election of our new president. I am grateful that he is willing to play the role that shows us our shadow self. Before we can move into the light, the darkness must dissipate and dissolve. And he's willing to show us both sides of the pendulum. So we need to be grateful for his presence. Dr. Ernest Holmes, in his Sermon by the Sea, said, "Give me 1,000 people who are doing the work, and we will create a new earth." And our ministers, our practitioners, and our spiritual leaders are in the trenches holding the high watch for that global mind shift that supports a world that works for everyone. And the fifth element of the plan, and the most important, is your participation. Remember, Jesus, the great master teacher, taught us, where two or more are gathered, there I am. So the movement towards our theme of fulfillment, which is our October theme, is about answering the call for a cosmic consciousness. On November 5th, we celebrate our volunteers. Joining centers like ours that recognize the desire to transform and grow moves all of us towards a more conscious evolution. The invitation to participate in the greatest adventure in human history has arrived. Will you be present? Will you participate? We are here to grow our collective consciousness. And as your spiritual leader, with the help of our prayer ministry team, we provide spiritual tools through our classes, through prayer, through meditation, through visioning, that can help you find and fulfill your creative potential. The Great Spirit will provide all the opportunities you need for growth and evolution. And our spiritual family is here to support you during this process. And I really want to honor the importance of this in this moment. I want you to look into the eyes of the person who's sitting next to you. And I want you to say this aloud with me. I see you. I hear you. Your voice matters to me. Let's do that again. I see you. I hear you. Your voice matters to me. So I encourage you to become a catalyst for the social potential movement, one who consciously and ethically uses their power for the evolution and spiritual growth of everything and everyone. Find out what's happening. Get involved. Pay attention to the clues. Cozy, who's my cat, and I have been playing cat and mouse for the last couple of weeks. And the mouse is alive. So Jane looked it up in her animal guidebook, and I said, well, the message isn't for me, it's for Cozy, because Cozy's the one who's playing with the mouse. So a couple of days ago, the mouse was in my root chakra bowl. So I kind of figured out maybe the message was for me. So this is what the mouse is about, teaching us to focus and pay attention to details. It shows us how to attain the big things by working on the little things. And this is what clearing out your subjective mind of negative beliefs is all about. As is evidenced by the myriad events that are happening on our planet, the divine spirit within us wants us to create anew. And this has produced some consternation among those that are holding on to the old ways. And it's perfectly valid because it raises the question, will we, as a universal humanity, be successful? I believe we will. And Barbara Marx Hubbard says that we are now changing our understanding of how nature evolves. We are moving from unconscious evolution through natural selection to conscious evolution by choice. So our movement from the observer, or one who watches, to the idea of becoming a conscious co-creator really empowers the now moment with infinite possibilities of what we can create together. And the purpose of spiritual mind treatment, which is one of the tools that we teach, is to rise above the law of averages to the point of shift, which is vital for our evolution. Santana sang in the song, "It is time to open our eyes. Let it begin with me. A brand new day, a fresh new way to live. The morning is calling. Walk with me into the sun. We are going to make it because we accept the fullness of life. We understand the idea that everything is coming our way." Thank you and namaste.